Dr. Eve. Hope you all are doing well. Um, yeah, this is my second video today, and I just wanted to come and share some research that I have been doing, and for all of us who are gardening um, and creating sustainable living through food growth and urban homesteading. I think it's really important to actually also know what the evidence is saying about our processes. And the reason why I say that is because we know that even through the research that many of the crops that things that we eat from our grocer, produce, things we can see the exposure that is happening around herbicides, pesticides, and all the things that are affecting our physical man as a result of the use of chemicals. And so I wanted to come and share with you a process I posted earlier that I have spent the last 3 days preparing new start trays first by disinfecting them, because baby, what we not going to do is have these nematoids or with all these things that are in the soil that are going to eat the crop roots or damage them or keep them from thriving. So what made me do this was I had an entire load of compost delivered to my home because I buy a lot of soil, but I wanted some good compost. And unbeknownst to me, you those compost bins, compost can have a lot of healthy, healthy uh, insects for compost, but not necessarily healthy for the growth of your plants. And so when my husband and I were putting compost around our vegetation, not our vegetables, but our landscapes, we were putting down some of the soil. He pointed out to me that there was what looked like maggots. I don't know to this day what they were, but they were definitely in the compost. And so one of the things that I want to do is make sure that I give my plants a healthy start, right? And the only way that I can give them a healthy start is to make sure that I disinfect the soil that I'm about to place them in. Because when I saw that, and then I looked up, well, are maggots supposed, is that healthy for your plants? And it really is not. So sometimes we might have to take several steps, several layers in order to get good results for our plants. And my goal is good results this year. I don't want half-baked seedlings. I don't want seedlings that are not thriving. I want to have seedlings that are going to produce really good results. And so I do a lot of research as a qualitative researcher on urban homesteading and all the things relevant to it, so that I can teach my audience here, those of you who are following me, teach you something different, right? Because a lot of people are homesteading and they're doing really amazing job. What's happening in their neck of the world may not be happening in your neck of the world. But here again, I had an entire load of compost that was infested with those little white worms, or I don't know what they call it. They look like maggots to me. So baby, what we not going to do is keep them there. So I have spent the last 3 days preparing soil and preparing and disinfecting that soil. But I'm going to give you the research, because here on this channel, I don't believe in what did Dr. Eve say about that. Because baby, when I think about a thing, usually there's somebody who's already studied it, and that's what I know as a researcher. So this is an article from the scholarly research that I pulled called Soil and Crop Health Following Soil in Disinfestation. So this is what it can do when you soil and crop health following soil. So I have disinfected my soil. So this is what I'm hoping for. This was a journal or presentation at an international symposium on chemical and non-chemical soil and substrate disinfestation. The concept, the researcher says the concept of plant health is far more than the opposite of plant disease, although relative freedom from disease is necessary. A healthy plant has to grow in healthy soil, in which the absence of major clinical and minor subclinical pathogens and a balanced biotic and abiotic environment for plant growth are prerequisites for achieving a balanced system. In addition, soil health has to be sustainable. Thus, the soil has to maintain a certain level of suppressiveness to protect it from pathogen invasion. Soil health should be achieved with minimal disturbance of the environment and depletion of natural resources. A variety of tests can be used to assess soil health: assessment of pathogen populations, tests for microbial activity and diversity, chemical and physical analysis, biotests, and remote sensing techniques. Decision-making tools can be most helpful. Soil disinfestation alone or combined with other methods is a very effective tool for improving soil health in pathogen infested soils or in soils with sickness, fatigue, or replant problems. Beyond pathogen control, soil disinfestation may also improve plant health in non-infested soils. So, I my title for this particular video was did you did you disinfect those starts from the nursery? A lot of times we buy starts. I know this has been my practice before I knew any better. Buying starts from the nursery or big box store or anywhere. What we don't know is what was in their soil. So when we don't disinfect our starts, what's happening is we are transferring the infection to our garden, to our soil. All the time that it took us to amend our soil can be disrupted by the lack of disinfestation of new plants that are entering the garden. Okay, so what I typically do is when I get a plant, say for example, this is a plant, I actually grew this from seed. So I was actually going to show you guys how I'm going to transfer this to the next level. But I'll do that on another video because this video is very important about, it's got to be about disinfestation. So if I were to buy this plant at the big box store or the any nursery, then I would pull this plant out of here and I would clean all the soil from around it because I don't want that soil to infect where its new home, right? So I'm about to plant this in a new pot, but I grew this seed, so I'm not worried about it. I grew this from seed, so I'm not worried about it. But if you are getting plants from the nursery, it would behoove you to rinse the soil off that came in the pot, because you don't want to carry disease from the nursery into your garden. I think that's very, very critical for us to understand. Disinfecting your starts before you put them in your in your beds, okay? So that was really all I wanted to share. This particular article was written actually in 2009. There's actually a ton of research on the processes that you can use to disinfect your soil your soil uh, as a way of amending, and how you can disinfect your starts. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is with boiled water. I saw the maggots. I just want them to die. I don't want them to be in my soil, and I'm using part of that compost. So, because I'm using some of that compost, I'm cleaning up the soil before I put my seeds in there, because I want to get a really good life. I want to give them a really good environment to thrive in. And this particular article was written by Catan A. Venector in 2009. It is published in the 7th Journal of International Symposium on Chemical and Non-Chemical Soil and Substrate Disinfestation. I will put the link to this article in the description so you all will have it as a way to do your research also. You know, people are telling us a lot of things. They're showing us a lot of processes, but you need to do your own research. So make sure that you're in the research, that you're learning, because this is not just a hobby. This is our life. This is a process of sustainable living that we're trying to achieve. So this is not a hobby. This is a legacy that we're trying to create for our families to live a better life, a sustainable life, back to the land, back to, simple life, manifesting more with less, right? So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Eve. I am a qualitative researcher, and I'm looking for what the evidence says about everything before I be making these moves out here. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Go and have the most amazing day. I'm going to come back later and show you all how I begin my starts for my moringa trees. So we're going to be talking moringa. We're going to be talking moringa. I'm keeping it simple so I can show you and teach you some of the things and processes I'm taking to build out my homestead. So moringa is the superfood. We're going to talk about it. I'll be back later to share with you the how I go from start to transferring into its new home. Okay, so peace and blessings. Again, I'll see you on the next video.